song for a movie podcast. Some are pretty good, but we'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns. Let's go!
And then
Hello and welcome to the podcast.
stop it! Is that your like Transylvanian
One, two. By the way, do you know that the Count from the Muppets is not a vampire?
You mean from Sesame Street?
Yes.
He's just that's just like his country's thing, right?
There's an actual character sheet.
Character sheet,
No,
as
no.
if he's like a D&D.
No,
character.
they each have like their own little like dossier of.
Yeah, a dossier of like these are facts about the character, and
Yeah.
they say he has vampiric qualities,
But he's
but
not
he's
a
not a
vampire.
vampire.
It's
No,
so
because
good.
that would be like too evil for children.
Yeah,
Because vampires.
Yet
are...
they have Twilight.
Twilight's not for children.
it's for horny teens.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, hi, welcome to the podcast. I'm Ritter,
I'm Mike.
And I'm on my last voyage.
and we are talking about Last Voyage of the Demeter, a recent movie from the director
Something foreign.
Andre Overdahl.
Hit me with that Norwegian pronunciation.
He did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark,
Oh, very cool.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and Troll Hunter. Those are his more like famous movies.
Which one was Troll Hunter again?
It is actually a fucking great movie.
Can you click on it? Maybe I'll remember.
Yeah.
Did
So-
you watch Troll Hunter?
I could have.
So it came out in 2010, and it's supposed to be that these like film students are doing a documentary off this like weird guy they encountered. They're like, this guy's weird. He says he hunts trolls for the government. That's crazy. And then they follow him, and they find out, wait, trolls are real? He's like, yeah, I fucking told you I hunt trolls for the government.
Oh, that sounds rad.
Yeah, so literally
Okay, I
it's
have not
about
seen this movie.
It's about this guy saying how like, yeah, the Swedish government set up power lines in a specific way to set up like troll like nature preserves, and like I'm here to deal with like trolls that get out of their habitats, that get like too wild and stuff like that. Like he's basically a park ranger
That's
for
so
trolls.
rad.
Like the movie is unironically fantastic, and I watched it at 1 a.m. on my Xbox 360 on Netflix.
Nice.
Because a lot of the movies I experienced in my youth were super late at night on Xbox Live Netflix. But
It was Call of Duty for me.
That was the movie that you watched on Xbox 360?
That
Call of
would,
Duty?
yeah, because I would also play the Linkin Park "In the End" song as I'm like
On loop?
in
On
the
loop,
end,
yeah.
it doesn't even matter
to give like other players a chance.
Oh yeah,
Because
would
I
be
nerfed
the,
myself because
would you be the
I
guy that would have their mic live just next to the speaker so everyone was subjected to whatever song you were listening to?
And then
No,
there's a baby
um,
crying in the background and mom calling you that dinner's ready, and you're like, I can't pause!
No, I realized I don't know if you guys did or not, but I realized early on that sound really matters. In Call of Duty, because then it really
You can
tells
hear footsteps
You can hear
and, like,
footsteps and
yeah.
stuff, and like they had a perk, but no one used it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really easy to tell like if someone was behind you or something like that.
Oh yeah,
And my friends could never figure it out for like the longest time. I was like, guys, just
listen.
Just listen.
Just
don't
skill
listen
issue.
to Evanescence while you're playing.
Yeah.
But back to the movie. We are talking about Last Voyage of the Demeter. Mike, what is this movie about?
It's about Dracula or something familiar to that nature.
Nosferatu!
Good reference. And he is just basically can't really feed anymore in Transylvania, so he's trying to get to London, right? London?
Yeah. So
And that's kind of like the synopsis is just him trying to get there.
I'm gonna
Even though he's not the main character, he's
Did you guys,
kind of
did you
like the
guys
synopsis of the movie.
watch the first part of Stardust Crusaders.
Yeah. So, Mike, I'm gonna say A+. You got about 95% of the way there.
Thanks.
So it is Dracula. They
Oh.
did confirm. So the last Voyage of the Demeter is actually based off of
The Dracula books.
the Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh.
There is a 2-page letter that is written by the captain of the Demeter that leads into the story of the book. And it's the Demeter is the ship that Dracula puts himself on to get to England. And yeah, we follow the main character Clemens
Corey Hawkins.
as he is on this ship with the crew, and they're experiencing crazy ass shit and trying to figure out what the fuck is happening, and kind of goes from there. It was
So what's cool is we all saw this movie in different variations. Ritter's seen it in 2 different ones, and Kevin and I only seen it.
no.
on
Kevin
opposite
saw it in 2.
Oh,
I-
did you end up seeing it?
Yeah, no, I saw it. I saw it with Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
we saw the
pre-release.
unfinished version
yeah,
of it.
that's what I'm saying. And what
Yeah.
you saw it again?
No.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Oh,
You-
okay.
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So Kevin saw the unfinished version. I saw the finished version, and you saw both versions.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So that was kind of cool.
I will say right off the bat, the version that Kevin and I watched, almost no changes between that and the fully released one.
Uh-huh. Probably just like editing for time or like
No. All the scenes in the unfinished one were in the finished one.
yeah.
what
and-
scenes were not?
But I
finished?
mean,
There
like
weren't-
either add extra shots or like reduce some shots.
That there was only one shot that was reduced.
You mentioned
Because
one
you
shot that
have an
was changed, too.
encyclopedic knowledge and you can remember what the research was like.
Yeah, no, I can. Like, I remember it. There was only one shot that was shortened, and it was changed slightly. Was that, there's a scene where Dracula is almost in, like, a half wolf, half man form.
He's like mid-transportation. He's midstream.
But in the finished movie, they kind of downplay that, so he just seems to be in a weak humanoid form.
Oh.
But then when he like grabs the guy, if you look at his actual live action hand, it still retains some of the weird mutation of like mid transformation, but they just don't address it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird, and I don't know. And I feel like they changed that because test audiences weren't fully understanding why he was part wolf. Because literally there was, oh my god, I'm not gonna say specific words because I don't know how much of the NDA covers the screening, and for how long. But I have a feeling test audiences were not responding well, going, "Why is he part wolf? I thought he was Dracula." Not knowing that, like, the original story, he can turn into a wolf. But besides that, yeah, the story it's really straightforward. It's just Alien, but with a vampire.
Yeah.
It's pirate alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the sea instead of in space, and
Instead of cowboys and aliens, it's pirates and Dracula.
So
instead of a little girl, it's a little boy and a dying girl.
yeah. No, so I do want to talk about the acting. Everyone did a good job.
Yeah. I had no problems with the acting.
I think the little boy,
I'm a fan of Corey Hawkins.
I think he was fine.
he was okay. I mean, he kind of did the best a child actor would be expected to do in that, but everyone else did great. I liked the
Everyone was
you liked
believable.
Corey Hawkins.
I
with
liked
his-
Corey
with his-
Hawkins.
with his English accent.
Yeah, he did. I liked the characterization of all the crew. Like, when he gets on the ship and you see like all the crew interacting and stuff, you get a very quick understanding of everyone's personalities. Granted, everyone is one-dimensional.
Mhm.
There
They
is
ain't that deep.
do not expect super big depth with any of the characters because you're not gonna fucking get it.
I think Corey's character was probably and
Clemens-
the captain. The Corey and the captain had the deepest.
Captain, I still think is pretty one-dimensional.
Hey, he's a captain that loves his grandson and just wants to give him a good life on the shore.
Yes. I think besides that, Clemens has the most depth, and even then, that's...
Am I crossing the memory streams? The captain, this was his last voyage, and he was going to give the ship to his first mate.
Yep.
Yes.
Or am I thinking of Sea Beast?
So the answer to both questions is yes.
Good move. Good move.
But yeah, so like the movie has somewhat of its own conflict until the real bad guy shows up, in that everyone is just like completely afraid of this stowaway girl that showed up on their ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like the conflict is just like this superstition that like women on ships are bad luck.
Yeah.
And so that's where kind of like everyone's just characterization comes from. There's the kind of like the Russian and like foreign ship workers that are like angry about her.
Because like they're like standard protocol for
Stowaways
is just toss them overboard.
Yeah, let the sea take them.
But since Clemens is like a doctor, and he has the Hippocratic Oath or something, you know, he's like, no, we gotta take care of her. And then Captain is like the most sane and like kind of just like compromising person in this entire thing. He's like, okay, but yeah, you get like, but she gets like your rations.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's like, I'm not going to have my last voyage be marred by the death of a woman.
Yeah.
And Clemens, since you're so inclined to keep her alive, then you can fucking feed her.
Yeah.
I will. And then the creepy creature shit starts happening. And okay, the design for Dracula, I like a lot.
Now, I like to maintain my impression of Dracula, which is
the gray,
which is an untextured CGI polygon, or like a guy in a costume, or literally nothing. That's how I want to maintain my picture of Dracula for this movie. You guys saw a finished version of Dracula, so your impressions are marred.
So.
Yeah, I got the worst version.
I liked it overall. Near the end, I have some reservations, but that's just a personal taste, I think.
Is it his like transformation into more like bat-like version?
No, that's fine. That's fine. What I'm saying, his ability to walk amongst the public was pretty trash.
Okay.
I think that wasn't.
Well, I mean, like, it's not.
Wow, we're really
established,
just
but...
dropping spoiler stuff. Okay, hold on.
Okay, now this is Dracula?
Yeah, you know, like, what?
Part of, like, you know, the Western mythology, and, like, this is a character we all know?
Well, I want to give a decent spoiler alert, so that way people who are planning to see it don't, like, ruin it for themselves. I'm just trying to be thoughtful.
Okay, how about this?
Dracula lives at the end of this movie.
Okay, let's... impressions. I think it's worth a watch, but maybe not worth the movie ticket to watch it.
I would say the same thing, yes. I think the idea of it and some slight changes in the end, I would think it's a solid, fun Dracula movie.
I mean, like, the reason I didn't, like, kind of just watched it when it released was that, like, I watched it once. I got what I wanted, and I was like, it's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Kevin always gets what he wants. After he sees any
spoilers. 3, 2, 1, done. Okay, we're in it. Now,
is this the last voyage of the Demeter?
Yes.
Yes,
so,
technically, because it just kind of crash lands.
I do, Kevin, I do agree with you, and it kind of makes me sad too, because I really like the director's work, but this movie, I'm like, I watched it once.
Yep.
I'm good. It's not a movie I want to own.
It ain't no Dracula Untold.
No.
I'm glad
I would watch that movie again.
I'm glad that people like Dracula Untold.
You want to know what? I own that movie on Blu-ray.
I would watch that movie again.
I'm going to say this. It's dumb, but it's so good. It's so fun.
So much flair and style.
When
Yeah.
he fucking makes a bat fist and punches an army, let's go, bat pending, baby. Let's go.
It's so good.
But back to this movie.
Yeah.
I really like the design of Dracula, except so this
No,
is,
I agree
so
with
this
you.
is an interesting thing between the unfinished and the finished version, is that there were scenes in the unfinished version that I thought they were kind of just doing establishing shots, kind of doing like tension building and stuff like that. But then in the finished version, you see like Dracula crawling around and stuff like that, and I'm like, God damn it, they show him way too much.
They do show him too much. I'll let you finish it first.
It's not, I feel like it's halfway through the movie and you're no longer scared of Dracula. You're just kind of like, what the fuck are these people going to do? Which is fine, but at the same time, it's like you're building this character up to be a terrifying monster that just is hunting these people in a way
Yeah,
they
it's supposed to be
can't deal
that
with.
like people are like disappearing, and then like they're slowly getting whittled down, like
Yeah.
their livestock,
Like
their resources, their manpower.
the cast is more afraid of Dracula than you are.
Yeah, which, like, it can be used effectively, but at the same time in this, it's just like, man, there are some shots where I'm like, you could just remove Dracula from the shot entirely,
Yeah.
and it would make it scarier. Or, like, just lessen how much light is shown on him in certain scenes. But the scene where he's going after Toby, the kid,
Yeah.
the captain's kid, that scene was great.
That was a good scene.
where like they look through the door and they just see
See it.
Dracula look at them and they're like, "Oh fuck, he's in there with the kid." And
Yeah.
then you're just like, "What the fuck?" And the kid looks and he's not there and he just crawls over him and it's just like, "Oh, it's so good." And then the first two like on the top deck hunt scenes.
Terrible.
No, they're great.
Well, let me rephrase that. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. I'm thinking of them never really looking that hard for him during the day.
Okay. So we'll
Yeah, we'll
address
address
that
that.
shortly.
Well, I also liked because like they were planning. They're like, okay, he works at night, so the best way to actually fight him is during the
The day.
So they actually had some strategy, and they also like check the storage hold. It's like, all right, where did this guy come
They
from?
have no reason to believe he's hiding in the boxes, because to their knowledge, all these boxes are literally nailed shut. Because remember,
Well, no,
it was
like,
it's when Clemens and the girl are looking, and they discover that the main box has a secret way to open it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's also during the day.
Yes.
So then they now know, okay, he can hide in boxes.
I don't remember that. Is Dracula, the Legend of Dracula, kind of like an established thing that like people know?
No, not in this movie. Like the
Like-
only people that know about Dracula is anyone from Transylvania.
Yeah, the gypsies and stuff that brought him to the ship, they only know about it because they literally lived in the town right next to his castle.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So in that defense, normal people aren't going to be like he's hiding in the boxes, because to their knowledge, just like all of this is nailed shut. If one of them was opened, we'd be able to know.
Right.
But yeah. So the initial hunt, like when he initially gets on the top deck, and like some of the crew are looking through their spy glasses, and all of a sudden they see a figure, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And they look, and no one's there.
Yeah.
It plays super well because it's like it's at night in the middle of the ocean. The only light is from these lanterns or the moon or whatever. You see shit in the
Yeah.
shadows. So they're like, okay, did I see shit or was there someone fucking there?
Yeah.
And it played super well to begin with. And then near the end, when they're building up to this big confrontation, they're like, we're going to have people up in the crow's nest, and we're going to ambush him when he comes out at night and stuff, and we're going to scuttle the ship. And I'm like,
At
Mother-
night?
and yeah.
I'm like, at night?
So Mike and I are sitting there. We look at each other like, what? Why don't you just scuttle the ship now? He's not going to get out of the ship during the day. He's going to die. You guys just fucking get on a lifeboat and leave. Because here's the thought process. During the day, they're about a day of sailing away from the shores of England.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like nothing stopping them from turning the ship in a direction and then getting off at the same time.
But so I'm just like, what? But there's the whole character moment of like the first mate. He's like, "This is my home.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be the one to sink it." So I guess there's that character demand of the first mate being like, "I want a chance of trying to kill it without having to kill my home."
Well, it's also like,
Yeah.
that's a lot of like money
Yeah.
down the drain.
Which, yeah, but I mean, you're facing basically Satan.
Well, the
I would argue that they don't realize the true fury they're up
Yeah,
against. 'Cause
they-
she's trying to tell them, but they don't believe it.
But I mean, can you blame them?
Because they only see a beast.
Yeah.
She sees an intelligent being hunting them.
they're seeing like just sort of thing that's like killing their animals and like
and
"Aw, man,
she
that's
does warn them, like,
Yeah.
listen, that's his greatest trick, is making you believe he's just a monster. He is a thinking, like,
He is a devil.
yeah.
But they're not going to believe a woman.
Silly woman. But I will say the special effects are in the finished version are decently done. Nothing is egregiously terrible. Everything is pretty well done.
I will say like the research one that we went to, it's like 75% done.
Yeah.
Really, it was just Dracula and like the ocean.
Mm.
But since since most of the movie is just like inside the hulls or like just people on deck
Right.
talking and doing stuff, it was like mostly already done.
Yeah. But I mean, even the like when we say Dracula wasn't done, there was still like a fully realized model. It just didn't have texture on it.
Yeah.
So, but it was still like you got a really good idea of how the movie was going to be.
Like, I liked as Dracula drank more blood, he got his more and more of his abilities back. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
There was like also kind of like a fear that like this Dracula movie is not gonna have much Dracula until like the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the subversion that like he actually was doing stuff.
Pretty prominent.
It was part of the plot.
Yeah.
Rather than everyone arguing over a woman on the bit and like turning on each other.
Yeah.
There wasn't really like it was always annoying. I always felt like it was annoying as a trope of several people on one side turning against each other to the detriment of like this bigger monster or whatever that they're trying to fight.
Yeah.
And like I always like is like they usually like argue and fight over like the most asinine and like ineffectual thing.
Yeah.
That's like super not important when like the literal devil is like over there.
Yeah.
So they all start to cooperate.
Yeah.
I always enjoy a good bit of teamwork in movies instead of everyone acting like idiots.
I could always use a good teamwork montage.
Yeah.
Seeing each other's stats, seeing what we're all good at.
Yeah, something that maybe there was a little bit more editing changes that I remember, but I remember in the research screening something that seemed a little off was like the captain kind of goes into a very slight form of madness because his fucking grandson died, all this crazy shit is happening and stuff.
Yeah.
In the final version, it kind of I feel like it plays more organically.
Yeah, because you see the boiling point.
Yeah.
And
Boiling point as
Yeah,
the
yeah.
skin burns away.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they fucking killed that kid.
Yeah, they did it.
Fucking yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but they also killed a dog, so it kind of like cancels out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I gotta clap when a horror movie has the balls to kill a kid.
Kill that kid.
Kill
Yeah,
the
no, I
kid.
love.
Fuck
I-
them
I-
kids.
I was always
And then light him on
No,
fire.
Yeah.
no, yeah. I mean, like I always love pointing that out.
Fuck them kids.
The true terror of how hot the zombies
Oh, there
get
it is.
like is kind of cool. Like you see the captain get like 3rd-degree burns, and this kid was only on fire for like seconds, or 1st-degree burns, and only being on fire for like seconds.
Yeah, I did like that.
I was like, damn, they really like get as
Like
hot
when
as
they,
the sun.
when they
like
catch
almost.
fire, it's like fire.
Yeah, I like that little tidbit.
Yeah, no, so like expanding a bit of the lore of I always also like kind of enjoy whenever a movie like establishes rules,
Yeah,
you know, for their monster, and like establishes a little bit of lore and like, you know, ways to defeat it organically.
they didn't really show that many. It was only the daylight thing was the only thing I think they.
And it's like kind of just, you know, it kind of
But
like
it's something organic.
Yeah,
yeah, and it also is like, you know, kind of relying on how audiences already know who Dracula is.
right.
It's just making assumptions that you know what the creature that they're fighting is like it's a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like I will say like probably my favorite version of vampires I would argue are still like Castlevania ones, or
That have like superpowers.
yeah, because they have established weaknesses. Like there are ways to hunt and fight them, but you only know that if you're a Belmont.
Otherwise, they're just like
These
extravagant people who
beings,
are
yeah.
like super smart and sexy or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the other alternate thing I like to usually go off of is like none of the vampires are actually attractive. I mean, this is not a Castlevania thing. This is just a thing about vampires I like in general. Is at least my
Maybe to
versions
you, I
like-
don't know. Maybe they're
well,
hot
like,
at their time, and you know.
like they have forms that they can transform into.
But are we saying vampires are real?
No,
You know,
this is just like
history,
this is just like
vampires
my ideal version of like vampires in stories.
Yeah, you know, it's Twilight did a lot of damage.
Yeah, Twilight did unfortunately a lot of damage.
I think like so they established that this is something evil on this ship and we can't let it get to a shore.
I see you clicked away from that.
I didn't feel like I feel like there are probably some movies that kind of like do that concept better, where it's like we have to get rid of them in the ship for the betterment of mankind.
Yeah.
So there's a show called Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh, this motherfucker's gonna mention Love, Death, and Robots for the 13th time.
Fuck off. There
mean, he's
is a
not wrong.
short called Bad Traveling
Mm-hmm.
that does that concept super effectively. It does it super well. I guess I'll just spoil it. Like this weird crab thing is able to grab a corpse that it kills and
Yeah.
put tentacles and talk through it, and he like tells everyone, hey, we need to take a vote. Do we take it to the island so we get to leave, or do we like try to figure out a way to kill it somehow? And he has everyone vote and blah blah blah. And as it goes on, there are different people that try to take over the ship, and he has to deal with them, blah blah blah. And at the end, it's revealed where he's like, there's only one other crew member surviving besides him, because he's had to kill the rest or one reason or another. And he's like, you know, it was really easy to determine who voted to just sacrifice the entire island, because I was the only one who voted not to. And he pushes the other guy in, and he's just like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to save people from this creature, this menace. And it just did it super well. And I wish that this movie kind of affected that same level of commitment and that same level of like principle.
It also like showed how threatening
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dracula is, because like the movies that I'm kind of like thinking of is Alien, Life, which a lot of people didn't like, but I thought it was just like a modern take on Alien,
Yeah.
and The Thing.
Yeah.
And The
Yeah.
Thing is probably like just kind of the most the highest stakes one, because it's so good at mimicking life
Yeah.
and everything that it's like as soon as it gets out of what is it, Alaska?
Antarctica.
It was in Antarctica. As soon as he gets out to the rest of the world, like you're fucked.
Yeah.
You don't know where it is. You're not going to be able to find it, and it's just going to be
It
able
will
to
wipe
propagate.
out the planet.
It's going to propagate infinitely. And life kind of is the same way because it just kind of burrows in itself. The alien burrows itself into your body, but like it was like kind of that situation. Like we can't let the alien get out of the space station.
Yeah, the threat for life was that it seemed to just continuously evolve and get stronger and smarter.
Yeah.
So they're like, if this gets to Earth, we have no idea what the fuck it will do.
Yeah, because it was just like thriving off of just like the people and like the organisms that they had on the station.
And with
And then there's Alien.
And with Dracula,
you don't know how well Dracula can blend into like the civilization. With what they kind of like establish in the movie, if Dracula gets on land, people are gonna see a giant guy with a wingspan and then just like shoot it.
Yeah.
And then like it's a very tangible like threat. But it's not like, super big.
But it's also the threat of how insidious he is, because there's one scene that it does do well where like Clemens is like, "I do not fear you, monster," and Dracula just whispers, looks at him, and goes, "You will."
Yeah,
and just goes in, and it's like, "Oh fuck, so good." But and you know what? I'm praising certain aspects of the movie, but it's just. The way the rest of the movie plays out, like, it shows him too much. The way Mike and I talked about how, like, the plan doesn't make a lot of sense. And, like, yeah, you can make character, like, exceptions to why they want to go with this plan. But at the same time, it just doesn't play well.
Yeah.
And this is a movie you can watch once, enjoy it, and I don't need to watch it again.
No.
This is, it's not as bad as, like... kind of like streaming bait movies where you're scrolling through Netflix or a Redbox disc collection and you're like, Last Voyage of the Demeter, it's a Dracula movie. It's like, I'll watch that. It's not like that level of bad. I mean, like, that it probably wouldn't hurt to do marketing in that direction.
Yeah.
Because that's probably the best it can do if it wants to like make money.
Yeah.
Okay.
It released in a I don't remember what else was out during Demeter. Because we all kind of just forgot. Oh, I didn't. But you guys all just kind of like forgot that it came out.
No, I remembered.
No, I had it in my calendar.
I just got busy with other stuff. But no, okay. Those bait movies are only good if you watch it with a group of people. This movie is good whether you watch it by yourself or with a group of people. But you're going to get everything you want out of it on one viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're like a Dracula historian and you want to see how accurate this is to the manga, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original text.
So
I guess.
I won't say who it is on tape, but there's a person I know who I was talking about the Voyage of the Demeter and like, oh, it's about when Dracula came over to England and stuff like that. And they went, oh, that's based on a true story, right? And I went, what? Dracula's real, right? And I'm like, do you think vampires are real? And they went, no, but Dracula was a real person, right? And I went, no. No.
He's based off Vlad the Impaler,
I'm like, he's inspired by Vlad the Impaler, but Dracula was never real. No, he had a castle, right? I'm like, no.
Vlad the Impaler had a castle.
I'm like, no, it's a book. It's a story.
Yeah.
And they went, oh, well, I thought it was based off something. I'm like, you don't think Draculas are real, right? I just got to a very scary point where I'm like, please tell me you don't think vampires are real. I need to know this.
Please.
Please give me this comfort right now.
Oh, Ritter, man, vampires are real. They're called middle managers.
Hey. But
I'm pointing at myself.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, guys. Corporate says that we need to raise efficiency. I'm gonna need you guys to work longer hours and do twice the workload.
By the way, we can't give you more than 30 hours a week, or else you would get insurance.
Nice.
But no, honestly, I think Andre's directorial style works really well. I just feel like you need to get the right story and the right like atmosphere for it.
I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
I'm not, I mean, like, I probably just wasn't like looking for it, but I didn't really like feel a very significant or personal style to the way he directed it.
Yeah.
Like, that could have just been anyone else's name on the director.
I agree. It wasn't no,
No.
Chinese space marines.
No,
Ooh.
no,
I would love that.
but
Bruh.
by the way, I just want to mention this. I'm looking at the IMDb. There's a fucking okay. So IMDb trivia is notoriously garbage, but there's this item in the goof section. Long after the crew has accepted the fact that there's a stranger on board who attacks every night, it still takes them forever to start searching the crates, and then do it after dark instead of during the day.
Yes, because it's like, I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, no, it's funny. Dracula's look is based off of Count Orlok from the unauthorized adaptation Nosferatu. Yeah, no shit.
Nosferatu.
I would say out of 10. Oh, ha! Okay, sorry. Another trivia. Director Andre described this movie as basically Alien on a ship in 1897.
Damn, that's funny. But yeah, I gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah, Alien broke new ground.
Yeah.
Like it's just
I think
barely over
I
average.
think I would rate it a little bit more than 5. I would say probably a 6.
You would say above average?
I would say a 6.5.
Okay.
I think it's decently made. I feel like the vision is there. And
You know, I'll give it a 6. You convinced me.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 6 out of 10.
Again, I don't think the movie is worth the movie ticket price to watch it.
You got to watch it with friends. I couldn't see myself watching the movie alone.
Maybe.
Like,
I guess that's up to personal taste.
Yeah.
Because I'm old.
I would need someone to bounce stuff off this movie with.
I could see that. I'm used to watching a lot of weird shit alone. So, but I'm slowly pulling my wife into watching weird movies with me. So I'm like, good, join me.
Indoctrination is starting.
Yes.
So if you kind of just like put this in Corey Hawkins's list or like his filmography, there are like some big names on there. I mean, like I think of him as Dr. Dre, from Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
Or your favorite character in The Heights, because I
haven't seen that movie and I want to. So.
Don't.
So like it's like these big name movies, and then Last Voyage of the Demeter is just hidden somewhere in that filmography.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of like Kaya Scodelario's filmography. She's like the older sister in the Maze Runner series, and yeah, I don't know. You kind of just like see her face show up. She's in the Resident Evil movie. Buried somewhere in her filmography, and I remember this specifically is a movie called The King's Daughter, where she's just like a princess. It's like completely different from the actiony like sci-fi stuff that she does, or like that she's known for. And it's also one of those movies that was like filmed 10 years prior and then eventually released because it either got out of like production purgatory or whatever. So I think like this is just kind of like not a blemish on Corey Hawkins' like career, but it's just like one of those things that's just like,
I mean,
it'll be fun to bring up.
Yeah. They all can't be winners, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, this movie also has David Dastmalchian.
Yeah, I mean, I love him and everything, and
Yeah.
he's like, he has a super memorable face.
Yeah. And
Good Russian accent in this one.
yes.
Okay, so while I have you guys here, what's your favorite version of a vampire?
I was kind of
If you say
disappointed.
Twilight, I will have to ask you.
I was disappointed in this movie when Dracula didn't stop time and then throw knives.
Damn, I
at
wish.
Clemens.
Damn, I wish.
All right.
Toki wo Tomare.
I like. Okay.
And I like that this is like with the Dio's coming to America. Like that's
Yeah.
what this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
based off of.
So I will. So this is a version of vampires that shows up in a couple of different franchises or IPs or whatever you want to call it.
Ips.
But I like the version of vampires where, when they're well fed, they have their powers. They're
I agree with
smart
you.
and stuff.
Yep.
But as they go longer without feeding properly, or maybe they're feeding off scraps or something like that, they become more feral. They become more bat-like and stuff. They just become monsters. And there are some interpretations where hey, if they go too long, they just never get out of that state.
Yeah.
And that's just what they're at. So I feel like that version I like because you almost see vampires as not truly immortal, just kind of putting off the inevitable, just like everyone else is.
Well, this is a
It's-
curse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in that version, it feels like a curse.
Yeah.
So they technically can live forever, but if for some reason they get into a rut where they're unable to feed properly, they lose everything that makes them them.
And it cool because it puts them into a box of being a villain because they need to feed in order to survive, which
Yeah.
is humans. So it puts them in a position of being the villain, which I really like. I would say, yeah, my top 3 medias that I've really liked.
I also
vampires
like
in.
the version of vampires from What We Do in the Shadows.
That's a funny version.
That's
just mundane.
Yeah.
yeah, just
Mundane,
Mundane.
people.
just some
Just a couple of blokes.
I
just-
like the idea of different vampires needing to feed on different things.
Or that they all
Yeah.
they all follow the different styles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's so
the
much
old
fun.
Nosferatu weirdos, the classical Twilight guys.
Yeah.
Or the clowns. Or the new
Do you guys
classical
watch
types.
the show, or did you guys just watch the movie?
I don't have the
I watched the-
I don't have the commitment to watch a TV show.
Yeah, I don't-
Dude,
think
the
I'm gonna watch
show is fucking great.
I hear it's good.
The movie, I still love how they bring Stu in,
Yeah.
and the Nosferatu vampire is just super chill with Stu.
Yeah.
Just he's super, and Stu's just well, you know, this happens, and it's kind of a drag, but they're just asking, and you see the vampire, he's just yeah, yeah, that's true, and it's God, that movie's so good.
Yeah, I would say as far Van
like
Helsing's
Castlevania?
vampires, Castlevania.
You just hyper actiony like vampires.
Well, I like them having there's established rules for them,
Mhm.
and they still have mysteries to them unless you're a hunter or something like that, or you know them well.
You know what?
And they're not really still known to the general public. They can blend into society.
Yeah.
They have their true form, but they have a form that they show to that they can use to trick people. And
You know
things
what?
Like that.
I know what version of vampires you like.
Yeah.
The version of vampires you like is you like vampires whose powers give people an actual reason to debate about becoming a vampire.
Yes, I
If-
like the idea that they're cursed, but there's benefits to their curse.
Yes. If someone were to be tempted, hey, I can turn you into a vampire if you do it, you want the temptation to actually be there
Yeah.
and not just be, oh, I want to live forever.
hmm
You don't want it to be some drug fiend that wants to just impress his mom
Just
Yeah.
like
from Renfield.
speaking of which, yeah, that's probably the best version of Dracula is played by Nicolas Cage,
I think that's just the best version of Nicolas Cage.
which I'm kind of disappointed that we couldn't make an episode out of Renfield, but it was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, I feel like Nick Cage Dracula could fall into the What We Do in the Shadows vampires of just doing mundane things.
Now, who wins? A vampire Nick Cage or a vampire Keanu Reeves?
Ooh.
I mean,
I didn't see the Keanu Reeves movie. I just know that his accent was terrible.
that's Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's like a famously fantastic movie.
Okay.
Cause fucking Gary Oldman plays Dracula.
Of course.
And
the man.
Yeah, no, that movie is fantastic.
Except for scenes with Keanu Reeves in it.
I mean, he Keanu's it up.
Keanu's it up.
He makes an attempt.
He definitely is Keanu.
That's funny.
I will say, I don't think he made the movie worse. But his performance did not elevate the movie. If you catch what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, I'm just gonna go on a slight rant here. The same way I dislike elves is the same way I dislike Twilight vampires.
You don't like elves?
I don't like.
Oh, a
I don't
superpowered
like.
race.
I don't
that's
like.
just
I don't
better
like
at it.
Tolkien's elves.
That
I
are
should
just
say.
like better than us at everything.
Why are
Oh,
they?
no, I'm
why
fine
are
with
they
them-
better? Because they are.
Yeah, like I need more than that, you know. Like,
So,
I'm
like-
not a fan of Tolkien's elves, and I'm not a fan of Twilight elves or Twilight vampires.
Well, yeah, no one likes Twilight vampires. They're fuck. Okay, listen. Twilight was written by someone who read 50 Shades of Grey and wanted to make a vampire fanfic.
Opposite direction.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What are you talking about? 50
Oh,
Shades
no!
50 Shades is the Wattpad fan.
I forgot.
Yeah,
Oh.
no, dog.
Okay,
Oh.
it doesn't matter. Twilight was written by an author who was horny for vampires.
We have done a disservice to Stephanie Meyer, and the world needs to apologize to her.
Why?
For ruining her life.
How did
Do you know how fucking, like,
listen?
how
I
rabid people were against Twilight
Yo.
because girls like them? And, like, the enemy of little girls is other little girls.
True.
True.
And in doing so, have, like, attacked Stephanie Meyer in every direction.
okay, I think the
Like,
other,
all she wanted to do was just write a book about sexy vampires.
okay, but I think the other aspect of it is that like the entire romance between Edward and Bella is just aggressively abusive relationship.
That's like par for the course for like YA novels that appeal to like young girls. It's very weird. They like if you've ever watched like shoujo or like read shoujo manga or like shows or
Where are you getting with this?
dramas. No, it's like kind of just like they like older bad boys that would get arrested by the police for pedophilia if it would happen in the real world.
Yeah.
Like this is
Yeah.
the kind of like it was just the kind of like romance thing that like YA girls were like into.
yeah.
And it's just part of the culture.
I guess.
But because like
But
Twilight was big,
listen,
we have to crucify this woman.
I'm not willing to crucify her,
No, I just don't like her vampires.
but I will crucify her work. Listen, someone's got to be put up on that cross. It's either the books or her, and I'm choosing the books. But I mean, any last thoughts on Last Voyage? Honestly, I would say it's slightly above average. It's
Yeah.
worth a watch.
Sounds
but
like this is our last voyage.
it's worth a watch, but not worth the money. I'd say just wait till it gets on some streaming service you already
Or
have.
Redbox, if it goes there. We don't know. We're trying to give them ideas.
What are you trying to get sponsored by Redbox?
No, I'm talking about this movie. This movie needs help. It needs to be able to swim. I'm trying to give it some flippers.
I think it will swim fine. But Kevin,
Girl,
I don't know. Do you see the named actors
They
that
call
got in
me
this?
the Demeter her because I make you not want to meet me.
All right. You can find us at Twitter at Buns Cinema. You can find us at patreon.com.
They call me the
/cinemabuns.
Demeter because after me, you don't want any more meat. You want meat removed from you. Demeat.
I'm Ritter.
I'm Mike.
Bland.
Bye.
We'll just suck ass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Watch with us, we're Cinema Buns.